Hello and welcome to another Cryptic Crossword solve. This time it's by Screw, number 26557, originally published way back in 2015 on the 28th of April. No reason for choosing this, it's simply at random, so let's take a look. Second, couple from Brazil rejected place to sleep. Second couple, letter O, from Brazil could be Rio. Rio rejected, backwards, OIR. Not sure. Thinks a little more as on screen. Thinks. Okay, not quite sure of the embed indicator here, but hidden in the wordplay is the word reason, or reasons I should say. And logically, that can mean thinking. 8 down. Hit. Double to knock out gutted team again. Hit double stunt. Stunt man is a hit double like that. Stun is to knock out, and then how do you get the rest of it? Because the middle of team, so TM, and then TM and AN is just the middles of team again that have been gutted. 7 down. Axes to split old plank. Pretty ugly one. Axes. Axes sometimes can be the letters X and Y, as in the axes found on a graph. I'm not sure. 6 down. Q herd. Following this lot to the highest point. That must be a top. If you're on top of something, you're at the highest point. A to P. Followed by Q. A to P, Q. Oh, interesting surface that's right. It's 5 down. Check others. Shower on time, or shower potentially. Check. I'm not sure. 10. Split. Classic suit. Could be cards, I suppose. Is money OTT for tailoring? Well, tailoring can be an anagram indicator because you fashion, you create, you rearrange, you do whatever. What would that be? If it's an anagram indicator, it must be suit is money OTT. Suit is money OTT. Definition is then split classic. Split classic. Suit is money OTT. It's Oh, if you break up with a partner, the typical phrase sometimes is, "It's not you, it's me," which is a classic line from a split. So that's nicely put there. It's not you, it's me. Definitely supports XY here. Axis to split old. The letter O. Plank. Oh, pretty ugly one is actually a definition of this word. A pretty ugly one is an oxymoron, because you can't have something that's pretty and ugly at the same time. It doesn't make much sense. And another word for a plank is a moron, as in, well, to be honest, a bit of an idiot. 12. Perfectly brown. Bread not sliced at first. Perfectly brown. So I tend to ignore the commas in clues because they don't aid anything other than to mislead half the time. I wonder if it's brown bread as in something that's been toast. Oh, yes, toast. And then not sliced at first is, well, the first of the word at is the letter A. And so actually, if you take the letter A out of toast, you get to a T. And if something is said to be to a T, it is perfect. 4 down. Animal's hip, described in Aristotle's letter. Did Aristotle write letters? I can imagine he did, but I think it's a little more subtle than that. I wonder if Aristotle's Greek letters are the name of a Greek letter. They're normally sort of 3 letters in some form. Animals hip described. Okay, so the definition is animal. If something's hip, it's in, it's trendy. And then rho, R-H-O, is one of the Greek letters, hence Aristotle being that Greek indicator. I know it sounds cruel, but it's true. 1 across, still don't know. What's 11? At sea, so plunders magnificent stuff. Well, if you're at sea, you're adrift, you're lost. So again, immediately I think of an anagram indicator. It just so happens that the letters of so plunders is 10. And so the definition is magnificent or magnificent stuff. So plunders, splendors, fit. I still would if I could type. Okay, 2 down. United jet is fit for service. United jet. Fit for service. Fit for service could be up to scratch, as in it's available, or it could be a reference to some sort of religious ceremony, a kind of church service. United could be the letter U. And the word for jet is fit. Oh, usable, sable. If something is sable, it's jet black. It's the colour. 9 across. Performers, no more precise. Oh, if you're not performing anymore, you might be described as an ex-act. Or you might be exact if you're being precise. 1 down might help us with 1 across. Enhancements from competitor mistitled petite. Petite in inverted commas like that with a question mark. I wonder if that's significant. Enhancements. Not sure. Partying with bar, nearly exposed. Bar nearly. So we're looking for a word for bar with the last letter chopped off, I imagine, and the whole thing means exposed. Out on a something. Oh, out on a limb. If you go out on a limb, you're exposed. You're taking a risk. That sort of definition. Except, and limbo, that kind of bar, with the O removed for nearly. $14. Sarongs packed. By George. Well, by George is an expression which means good grief or wow or it never was, that sort of thing. Sort of a little archaic these days. You don't hear it so much. Okay, so if you look in the middle of sarong, packed by, going backwards is the word Nora. And if you flip Nora in that sense, you get the definition by George, and there is a very English definition called flipping Nora, which means bloody hell, or it's an expression of surprise. Okay, what's that do for 5 down? Check others, shower on time. So I think on time here is the letter T at the end. I think what we're told is that there's a word for shower that rests on this letter T for time. So the definition must be check. Restraint. Restraint is check. Oh, rain. Rain is shower. And others is rest, as in the rest of something or the rest of them. What is this? Second couple from Brazil rejected. I think the definition is place to sleep. And I think rejected here is a reversal indicator. Must be boudoir. Boudoir is where you go to sleep. Oh, yeah, okay. And if you read that backwards, so Brazil is Rio, from Brazil, place in Brazil, and second couple isn't the second letter of couple, as it often can mean, but actually a couple is a duo, and the second is the letter B. So you might have, say, A-listers and B-listers. First rate is A-list and second rate is B-list, for instance. That's where the sort of A-B idea comes from. That's a very neat clue indeed. Enhancements from competitor, mistitled petite. Competitor, mistitled petite. Competitor. Do you know, I want that. I want this to be breast implants for enhancements like that. Oh, yes, indeed. Because if you look inside the words for competitor, mistitled petite, there is the word tit, which is slang for breasts, and the definition is such that the word itself is sort of, if you like, implanted inside these other words. Good grief. Moving on then, 18 across, making the most. Source savings, £100, current investment. What? 12 letters. Making the most. Soar. So I think the word soar can often mean a phrase, often sort of, of wisdom. Oh, a maxim is a saw. Savings is ISA, so it must be maximization. Why is that? Maximization is making the most. Current is the letter I, as in electronically, in electronics the abbreviation is current for I, and £100 is a little old-fashioned, but a ton, because it's 100 with an I in it, so that's how you get maximization for making the most. Lovely clue that. 13 down, land experts on a rig, most awkwardly. Well, awkwardly immediately suggests an anagram, and the way the clue's phrased, it doesn't read particularly well. It sort of doesn't flow. Land expert on a rig, most awkwardly. So immediately I think of an anagram, and I suspect this is going to be an anagram of on a rig most. And indeed, you can make so there is a term for somebody who's an expert of the land or soil, and that's agronomist, which is an anagram of that lot. 21 across and 28, gents toilet playing romantic song. Playing could be another anagram indicator, I suppose, of gents toilet. Oh yes, a romantic song. Let's get it on. 20 down. Train set ran mainly backwards. So train could be another anagram indicator. If you train something, you're helping to produce something. Set ran mainly backwards. Oh, the word mainly at least in crossword land anyway, makes one think of the ocean or the sea. And the word for mainly backwards, I suppose, could be astern, the back of something, if you're on a boat. 19 down, liking golf when retired causes annoyance. Well, golf in the phonetic alphabet can be abbreviated to the letter G. Causes annoyance. If you get at someone or gets at something, that can be annoying, and actually that gives us the word taste for liking. 22 across, senior group writes, taxing Americans I must infiltrate. A senior group is a pensioner or pensioners, pens his rights, plus the letter I, and something left over. What is that? Pensioners, oneers? Oneers is left over? Not sure, no. 23 now, somewhat indigenous language. Somewhat indigenous. Sometimes that can be an embed indicator. If it's somewhat, it's not all of, it's a part of, and the word slang is referenced in there, which is good. 15 down, when Charles should inherit. Thug stands up as representative. When Charles should inherit. Representative. Well, this is very apt in a sort of macabre sort of way, because this evening is the day in which we all find out that Queen Elizabeth II has sadly passed away, and one way of expressing when Charles should inherit is indeed after Elizabeth Royal, or post-ER, you might say. And a representative, in the sense of something to look at or up to, is a poster boy. And thug stands up, particularly in the down clue, means it can be reversed, and a yob backwards is boy in this case. 25 across, fear of novelty, mince pie on a hob. Fear of novelty must be the definition. Mince pie is interesting because I think mince is an anagram indicator. If you mince something, you shred it, you mix it up, and pie on a hob anagramized gives you neophobia, which is a fear of something that's novel or new, I suppose. 17 down with an X. Sex show about liberals. It predicts the X rating. I don't want it to be exit poll, as in the X rating for, whatever it's meant to stand for. And an expo is a show. Sex is almost always abbreviated to it as a slang for, well, sex. And LL is liberals plural, because L can be an abbreviation for liberal, but pluralised you have more than one. 27 across, brief hippie movement, condition, close to assembly plant. Well, close or close to assembly could be the letter Y. Salsify is a plant, an edible plant, I believe. A hippie movement in terms of a dance could be a salsa, but it's brief without its last letter, i.e. the letter A has been removed. And again, if is a condition plus close to assembly. Well, that's a nice clue indeed. leaves us with last but no means least 24 down. Reportedly, could be a homophone. Finish drawing tongue. I'm not sure anyone, even an artist, has a sort of penchant for literally drawing tongues. So I think we can rule out the literal definition and think of something a little more lateral. Tongue is often speech, dialect, language. Oh, tie. Yeah, finished drawing isn't what we're meant to think of. It's not to do with art. But if you finish drawing, reportedly, you might be in a tie break, a tie of a race. But it's not spelt like that. If it's a tongue and then if it's a language, it's spelt like that. Well, thank you, Screw, for that crossword. That was really, really good, and I think I'll have to go and find some more of his because that was particularly good. And since this comes from 2015, I hope that there is more from him because obviously it's been a while. So I will go and do that, and if I find an interesting one, I'll share it. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again soon.